All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. The Philadelphia 76ers have been somewhat of the walking wounded to begin this NBA season, and as a result of that, could their championship aspirations get away from them before Christmas? I say this because the 76ers are loaded with talent, but we have yet to see that talent on the floor at the same time. Tyrese Maxey has missed the last 6 games and counting with a hamstring injury. Paul George missed the start of the season due to a knee hyperextension in the preseason. Last night saw All-Star center Joel Embiid just playing his third game as he's coming back from a knee surgery, and then of course at one point you didn't think Embiid was going to play last night due to an illness, but nonetheless we're looking at the Sixers right now. They're only 2-11, and they're tied with the Washington Wizards for the worst record in the NBA. And it wasn't supposed to be like that. We saw the Sixers spend money this offseason. You have a championship coach in Nick Nurse, who was brought in a couple of years ago. And now Philadelphia is on the bottom, looking up at everybody else in the Eastern Conference. So you look at things for the Sixers, and you just have to wonder if they are going to get on track. And I mean, you have to be hopeful that they can. I mean, there's still, a good chunk of time in the NBA season, but if you're Philadelphia, you still need a sense of urgency at some point. It's one of those scenarios right now for the Sixers. Um, they're scoring the least amount of points per game in the NBA this season. I know part of that can be attributed to the injuries, but nonetheless, I just don't see a sense of urgency from this team so far. We heard about last night's team meeting following the 76ers 106-89 loss to the Miami Heat. And of course, one thing that came out of that meeting was Tyrese Maxey holding Joel Embiid accountable. And I'll say like this, typically the best teams have their best players set the tone with what they do on and off the floor. And the thing is like, I know that Joel Embiid, has had injury issues throughout his NBA career, but I simply just don't see a sense of urgency uh, from, Joel Embiid. And I see a scenario right here where you go back to last season where Embiid was only available to play for 39 games. Tyrese Maxey took over this team. And I think slowly but surely, I think the Sixers are going to shift to being Tyrese Maxey's team. No disrespect to Joel Embiid, but to me, he just seems like a guy, you know what? He's okay with his stats, he's okay with his money, and and that's it. I mean, you look at the 76ers right now as a franchise, they still have not made it past the second round of the playoffs since 2001, which was also their last trip to the NBA finals. I was critical of the Paul George signing over the summer due to the fact that, hey, you have Embiid who has injury issues. Paul George in recent years has had injury issues of his own. And at the same time, he's a guy, in my opinion, that does not rise to the occasion. And if you look at Paul George's NBA career, every team that he leaves, they have somebody to replace him. And subsequently, that team gets better. But nonetheless, there's a lot of talent on the Sixers team. And of course, you're hopeful that you can have Tyrese Maxey. You're hopeful that you can have Paul George and Joel Embiid on the floor at the same time, but you cannot keep giving away games at this point if you are the 76ers. Yes, it's still early in the season, but you got to get it going at some point. And you can't just sit up there and say, well, we'll figure it out at some point. Let's just try to get to the play in. No, because guess what? If you go out there with that mentality, there might not be a play in for you to get to because you've given away so many games at this point. I look at the 76ers like this. You're 2-11. You still got to worry about the load management of both Embiid and Paul George. Will they be able to overcome it? Because again, the Sixers are basically giving games away, and you can't just sit up there and consistently give games away in the NBA and think at some point we could just flip a light switch on when we feel like it and everything is going to be fine. So you're looking at the 76ers. They're trying to navigate through this as Embiid looks to get it together, as Paul George looks to get it together. And at some point, something's got to give. Bad start for the 76ers. Hopefully, for their sake, they can get things turned around. But at this point, it ain't looking good. I do expect things to come together for Philadelphia at some point this season. But it's just a matter of will it be too little, too late? We don't know. A lot of talent there, but talent alone does not account for or result in success, force it with success in the NBA. At some point, it's got to be gut check time for the Sixers. When will it happen? Only time will tell. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line to be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.